What's up, and welcome to the DualSense Podcast, a PlayStation news podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason, and I am joined, as always, by your other co-host, whose name this evening is Drew P. Wiener. Oh, that's good. That's a really good one.
Thank you.
Mr. Wiener, also known as Travis. How are you today? What's going on?
I'm fine. I made an observation today at
Oh,
dinner.
okay.
And the reason I thought of this is God love him, but like probably 4 of the last 5 times we went to dinner with my parents, my stepdad has choked on his food. And it's like
Jesus.
but each time he's hit the look on his face like this is how I go out, and we all
Yeah,
stop eating and watch him to see if he's really dying. And
right.
instead of
Sure.
helping. And every time my mom's like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you doing that?" It's like he's not doing it on purpose, but like he just
Right.
Jesus Christ, it's like chew up your food like he's a toddler.
You're right.
I know it's not his fault, but it's just funny. So
I
anyway,
Isn't it scary though, like, when they do that shit? 'Cause my
yeah,
my my grandpa does the same thing. It must, run in the family or whatever, but, like,
yeah,
we'll just be eating, like, a sandwich at, like, Jersey Mike's, and he'll just, like, start coughing, like,
right.
choking. I'm like, "It's just a cheese steak."
It's
Like, I
like
don't know.
maybe it's an old person thing too,
It
but
probably is. They
but
like
like
to I bet they, like, lose, like, some strength in their esophagus or whatever.
or some like yeah, or like they're just dry. You know what I
That
mean? Like they don't
too.
have any
Yeah.
spit, but like he part of his problem is he tries to talk with his mouth full. It's like you almost
Mm.
choke every week. Can you just wait? But what I noticed was I was looking at other people. I got to thinking about choking, and I was looking around, and then I noticed how much food people put on their forks. Like,
Oh my
dude,
god, yes.
you don't need like why? Like this lady in the back, first she was pregnant, so I know she's eating for 2, but you don't have to put in 2 portions of salad in your mouth. The fork, there was so much food on the fork, it was like the size of a tennis ball, and she put it in
Oh
her
my
mouth,
god.
and then she had to push it in with the fork. Like like we just got her out of Auschwitz, and she hasn't ate in 2 or 3 years. And she's like, "I gotta eat all of the lettuce." Like, dude, you can literally sit there for an hour and eat your lettuce. Like, nobody
Yeah.
cares. You're not in a nobody's in a rush. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Like, I don't get it. And I've seen people like when I worked at a restaurant in high school, a guy choked. We had to call an ambulance, and
Amberlance.
he I remember the ambulance got there, and of course they had no urgency. Hey, guy's
Never
choking.
do.
Guy's choking. Okay, they get out of the ambulance, they weigh 300 bills, and they push him in, they bring in the gurney, and,
Yeah.
he's on the ground, and they took, like, medical tongs, not from the kitchen, they took medical tongs, and they pulled the food out of his throat, which I, of
My
course,
god.
watched, and when they pulled it out of his throat, they just threw it, like, threw it, to try to save
Like
him.
it was an alien or something?
Yeah, so they pull it out of his throat and throw it,
Like a
and
parasite.
he had ordered, we had a T-bone steak, and he basically had cut like, you cut your steak into, like, chunks? He had cut a row of steak and then ate the row as opposed to
Oh
cutting it in
my
smaller chunks. So he
god.
choked on the row of steak, which was, like, 4 or 5 inches long, which, of
Yeah.
course, is gonna choke you, and I will just never forget them pulling it out, and it's like I mean, you could still eat it, like, it wasn't even chewed that well, like, it's like he put the whole thing in his mouth, chewed twice, and swallowed it, and then his
That's
wife
what my
said
dogs do.
right. And my wife said, and I quote, "This is the 3rd or 4th time it's happened. I can't get him to cut up his food. He's fucking 60." So anyway,
Well, you wanna hear my story real quick
yeah.
about somebody choking on food? In college, we were eating at the Ryan's Steakhouse, real high-end establishment, and me and a group of friends, and I was sitting on the end of the table, the head of the table, if you will, and our friend Clayton was sitting to my right,
I'll bet he's
and
white.
he was, and we all had gotten, our plates of food, whatever. We come back, we sit down, I got like a meat and 3 veggies. That's, pretty typical, order of operations, whatever. I'm eating, we're talking, eating. A few minutes go by. He's on like halfway through his little chunk of steak that he had the lady cut for him or whatever. And he like, I could tell just out of my peripheral that he had just stopped. Like he was frozen in time. He had quit talking. And I could tell like he looked like he had like eaten a gerbil or something. So like then he goes for the universal sign of choking, the 2 hands around the throat, and I'm like, oh shit, Clayton's choking. So then like we all like immediately stand up and like push our chairs back, and like
'Cause that
before
helps.
any yeah, before anybody could like, we're all, like, backing away like he's gonna explode, and before anybody could do anything, he vomits everywhere, and the piece of steak comes out because that's your body's reflexes to vomit if it's choking. And so he was sitting there dying on a piece of Ryan Steakhouse steak, and he just vomits everywhere. And then we're just like, "Oh, we're so sorry," and we just get up and leave.
You didn't even
Like,
pay?
no, we paid. I
Oh,
think I don't know, but yeah. So that's the only time I've really seen anybody choke. They just vomited everywhere and like ruined everybody's dinner.
god, imagine
So
dying. Imagine dying on Ryan's steak. It's not even good.
it's not even real steak, probably. Anyway, we are a PlayStation podcast for those of you here for that. And Travis and I get together each and every week and we discuss news, rumors, new game releases, and much more in the world of PlayStation. We do it all in under 90 minutes and we post new episodes on Mondays on all of the usual podcast services, as well as the YouTube if you prefer to listen there. We also share gameplay videos on YouTube and all kinds of good stuff that we put up there. A very great variety of things. We're also on social media, of course. Would love to hear from you and talk PlayStation. Our primary social media outlet is Twitter, where we are known as at the DualSense Pod. But we're also on Instagram, where we share virtual photography from in-game photo modes, and we also have a Facebook page if you use that for some reason, as well as a blog, which is the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. You can get our episodes there as well as and also see our pictures and some short bios of us. And yeah, so I guess without further ado, Travis, let's jump into another big week of news here. We've got some interesting stuff here to talk about. Number one, Swedish entertainment mega conglomerate Embracer Group continued their ongoing spree of acquisitions this week, announcing several new purchases, and it might be their most interesting haul yet. The biggest purchase is their acquisition of the IP rights to J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and other related works via the purchase of Middle Earth Enterprises. The company did not disclose how much they paid for said rights, but shared that they wanted the properties due to their success across movies and games, and the promise of upcoming projects like Amazon's TV show, an animated movie, and a mobile game from Electronic Arts. Embracer also acquired Tripwire Interactive, who is most known for their games Killing Floor and Maneater, the shark game, although they also published the 2021 Game of the Year, Chivalry 2. The acquisition of Tripwire is done via Saber Interactive, acquiring a 100% stake in the publisher/developer, and they will operate as an independent subsidiary under Saber Interactive moving forward. Next up for purchase was developer Tuxedo Labs, who recently released Teardown, the fourth highest rated game of 2022 on Steam. Interestingly, Embracer rationalized this deal by sharing that they have big plans for the quote unquote physics simulation genre, which is exactly what Teardown is. After that, Embracer acquired a company called Sing Tricks, who are a so-called music entertainment technology company. Think music games, karaoke machines, etc. Embracer noted that Sing Tricks was the first to patent technology that was later acquired by Activision to create the Guitar Hero franchise. That's interesting. Embracer bought their first Japanese studio as well, called Taitsujin, which is led by Masahiro Yuge, one of the founders of iconic arcade game studio Tileplan? I have no idea, which Embracer now owns as part of the deal as well. They also acquired a Swedish retro game developer called Bitwave Games and a gaming accessory company called Geotech. Moving in a slightly different direction, Embracer also purchased popular physical edition game publisher Limited Run Games, which they said was due to their interest in releasing physical editions of back catalog games and retro titles, and also likely plays into their video game vault preservation project, where they want to have a physical copy of every game ever released in an archive. Embracer also announced another largest acquisition, but could not reveal any further details as it is a secret for now. And finally, they also confirmed that one of their AAA titles was moved to another studio to ensure quality. In other words, the Knights of the Old Republic remake was taken from Aspire Media and given to Saber Interactive. Embracer Group now operates 11 holding companies, including a new retro-focused one called Embracer Free Mode, and more than 100 game development studios across the world, with 220 video games in development. Okay, so Embracer keeps on embracing. What do you think?
Yeah, first of all, shout out to them for not being communists. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a good start.
So yeah, we've talked about limited run games in the past. I don't really remember why, but I know we've talked about them. They've made something I'm familiar with, but I can't put my finger on it.
Oh, yeah,
off
they
the top
make
of my head.
physical editions for all kinds of games you probably like.
So, that's a I mean, obviously, if you're gonna have physical edition games, you would want them. That makes a lot of sense. Plus, this this odd thing that they've went on to preserve video games is fascinating to me. Like, it just seems like
Yeah.
something that a person with a lot of money that loves video games would absolutely do. Like, that's something that one of us would do if we were a billionaire. We'd be like, "Let's just make a vault with all these games in it," and then, you know,
Hell yeah.
like, after we kill ourselves, we'll have the vault full of video games and the vault full of seeds. That's all we need. So, I love all that. I thought the Sing Tricks thing was actually kind of interesting because, one, what are they gonna do
Yeah.
with that? And everybody loved Guitar Hero and Rock Band, and,
Mhm.
our buddy Jacob was really into DJ Hero, but that might have been for other reasons at the time that he could play that so much. But part of the I'm interested to see what they'll do with those because I would love to play. I really think that a game like Rock Band or Guitar Hero could still sell well now, even on the newer
Mhm.
generations if they redid it in some way and kind of, spruced it up. So, what are those really? Those are really just, it's a Rock Band simulator is what it is. I mean, so, that could be fun, or even if they did Rocksmith, a version of Rocksmith, that could be fun too. So, there's definitely some money there, but, I mean, of course, we're talking about them buying a company that made, uh, Maneater and Chivalry 2. We all love Chivalry 2. It's a fucking blast, but Maneater is hilarious, and a lot of people that have played it liked it. So it's like
Yeah.
they kinda make these niche games, that make sense, and if you're an Embracer Group, I just feel like Embracer has a lot of these, holding companies and these little studios that are kinda nichey, so it kinda
Mhm.
makes sense that they're there. I always worry, though, we talk about this a lot, I always worry that when somebody like Embracer Group starts buying up these things and it becomes a part of the conglomerate, that it will lose kind of its shine. I'm always worried about independent things becoming non-independent, like, not that they sell out, like a
Right.
punk band or something, but sometimes when you just have all those fingers in the pot, it kinda loses what it is because people get so focused on, you know, Chivalry 2 is great, it made X amount of money, we wanna make Chivalry 3, and then all of a sudden it becomes about the money, and, like, what made Chivalry and Chivalry 2 great was the people that made it, like, the core of that team, they put a lot of soul and heart into it, and that's why it's great, and when you start worrying about, like, if
Mm.
you go the EA route and you start talking about mobile, like, transactions and making the games mobile friendly so they buy whatever, like, you just kinda lose those games kinda don't have a soul, um, which is kinda what I feel about, like, I feel like Fortnite doesn't have a soul,
Yeah.
which I
True.
which I have a Fortnite story to tell you later about a guy from work, but,
Great.
yeah, man, like, I like the purchases that they made here. It's interesting that you picked this as our number 1 news story. I'm curious to see why you think that, but I think that's awesome. Of
Yeah.
course, the Lord of the Rings stuff, which we didn't even talk about, I didn't even talk about. I mean, that was their biggest, acquisition of IP rights. So,
Mhm.
what does that mean? What are they gonna do with that? Is it, you know, the idea of a mobile Lord of the Rings game where you just walk around is hilarious to me, but it could be a thing that's real. Like, you could do anything with that IP. I mean, think about it. Like, the Lord of
Yeah.
the it's so big and it's so well known and recognizable. Like, and they have a billion things they own. Like, they could do so much with that, but, no, I
Mhm.
think I think they're all really, really smart moves. I'm as you know, I'm always excited to see, like, what is the weird TV show video game crossover, so I would love to hear more about that in the future.
Yeah, I the reason why I think this story is so big is because immediately when I found out about this, the first thing I thought about is, is Embracer a force for good in the video game industry? Like, what is their end? Like we've talked about on the show, what is their end goal? Do they mean well? We know they're not communist. We know they're not putting people in internment camps and et cetera. So that's a good start. Like I
Yeah, they'll
said,
buy them before they do it, though.
right? They do cool stuff. Is the other thing. Like Embracer is so fascinating to me. They have more studios, more employees, I think, than any other video game company in the world in terms of like publisher wise, and maybe period, maybe more than PlayStation, maybe more than PlayStation, Xbox. It's and just in general. I don't know at this point, but I mean they're just so big. They have 11 holding companies on their own. They have 100 game studios. They have over 200 games in development. It just blows my mind. Like this has to be one of the most complicated companies in the world
Maybe in
to
history.
operate. Yeah, I mean, they're based in Sweden, but they have companies all over the world, like dozens of companies all over the world. So
Mhm.
it's just, I just want to know how it all works. And a lot of times when they buy these companies, they remain independent subsidiaries, and they're just doing their own thing still anyway. So maybe that's the answer. But I just want to know like what the end game is. Are they again a force for good? It seems like they are.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying and doing some of the right things. They're like you said, they have so much money, obviously, that they're throwing money behind this project to build this vault, a literal vault, like an archive to have a copy preserved of every physical game that was ever released. So that's cool. You know, that endears them to me off of the bat. But the other thing is like I also think about how big Embracer, how much bigger they can be. Because right now, yeah, they do make some AAA games. Like they're going to publish the new Saints Row game that comes out next
Yeah.
week, and they publish some other big like AAA games like Metro. The Metro series is pretty much a AAA game. Dying Light,
Mhm.
things like that. Like they have some big titles, but they have a ton of what we call like the double A games, like stuff like Destroy All Humans and shit like that. And some of these things that they just acquired, those are like the kind of like the middle, like not huge, expensive, like blow you away games, but like these, but not indie games either. So they have so much of that. And the thing that I think about is like they have all these literal hundreds of irons in the fire. So can you just imagine if like they have an IP one day that hits like a Fortnite or like a Multiversus or like a Grand Theft Auto or whatever, and then they just like blow up
Right.
even more than what they are. Like they have like a commercial success blow up, and they just now all of a sudden they're just
It
unstoppable.
seems like that's gonna happen by default. They own so much stuff,
Yeah,
but right like you
yeah,
said, right now, they're just like they own a bunch of mid-table teams and a bunch
yeah,
of teams fighting for promotion. Like, that's kinda where they are in the world. Eventually
yeah,
eventually, they're gonna be Leicester City. They're just gonna hit one. They're gonna hit 1 year.
yeah. That's a good analogy. It's like they've bought the entire English championship division of football.
Mhm.
And, like you said, one of these days they're going to get a team promoted and then that wins the Premier League. And it's like, holy shit. And so I'm just super fascinated by everything that they're doing. And, the fact that they went out and bought the Lord of the Rings IP
Yeah.
is nuts.
That's
Like, so
fucking
now that,
big.
I mean, they own all of it now. Like the TV show, if it gets 100 million views or whatever, that's them. All that stuff. They make another movie series and it blows up. That's them. That's so nuts to me because that's such a huge IP. Just I mean, across the world and in fantasy, fiction, and everything. So I don't know. They're so interesting, and they just keep getting bigger, and they're not going to stop, obviously. And they have something else that they couldn't announce even. So I mean, really, they said I think they said in their release that it's like the third or fourth most expensive of all the
That
acquisitions
they've made.
that they made in like this string of them.
Mm.
I think, or maybe ever. I don't remember. Maybe I read it wrong, but who knows what that could be? They probably bought fucking Ubisoft or something. Well, Tencent's going to do that, so never mind. But anyway, we'll see what Embracer embraces next. Number two, a number of interesting PlayStation related items were discovered this week by data miners coming through the recent release of Spider Man Remastered on PC. For starters, and perhaps most importantly, references to a quote unquote PlayStation PC launcher have been found and verified by Video Games Chronicle. In relation to that, other files were discovered that reference quote unquote PSN account links and PSN linking entitlements. No PC released PlayStation title has PSN integration thus far, although that functionality is clearly on the way. According to VGC, Sony can also offer in game bonuses and rewards for players linking their PSN accounts to their PC games. Both of these discoveries lead to more questions, such as will games be cross buy between PS5 and PC? Will trophies come to PC releases? Will PC releases be integrated into the PlayStation Plus service, in addition to many other interesting possibilities? What is continuously made more clear, is that PC is a huge part of PlayStation's future, as Sony launched a new section of the PlayStation website specifically for PlayStation games on PC just last week. Also buried in the Spider-Man game files were references to various multiplayer game modes that would allow a second player to control Miles Morales, and appears could include both a PvP and a PvE mode. And finally, Spider-Man has enjoyed a successful launch on PC for Sony, reaching 66,436 concurrent players at its peak, just under 10,000 less than God of War. Okay, so this is kind of in two parts. We're discovering some things about their PC shit, and then also that Spider-Man
Mhm.
is doing pretty well on PC, and that there probably is going to be a multiplayer mode for the
Yeah,
second
I'm
one.
not surprised that it's doing well on PC. I think I mean, I expected that. And the multiplayer aspect of Spider-Man isn't surprising when you consider how well the game's done. Like, it kind of makes sense to make a multiplayer experience. I mean, they added it, for Ghost of Tsushima. It
Yeah,
just, they're doing the same thing with The Last of Us. So I think they're learning that yeah, these single player. That is an interesting idea. I guess if these single player narrative based stories hit really well, can you spin them into PvE or PvP or PvPe? I think that's an interesting idea actually, because like imagine if you could do The Last of Us in a co-op sense where you get 3 or 4 people and you're just playing the enemy or whatever, or you're almost doing like I forgot what game it was where we had to steal all the loot. You could do the same thing. But anyway,
oh
that'd
yeah,
be fun. That'd be kind of cool. As far as like linking the two things together goes, all those questions you asked are fair questions, and those are all the questions I had. It seems like it has to be a thing, and a PlayStation launcher has to exist. That just seems like you would have a PlayStation Hub on the PC. That's the most logical thing
I
to
agree.
me. And linking it to where you could, it's kind of weird to link them to me. I understand why you would do that. Because you could theoretically you could you have progressive play or whatever you can pick up wherever, no matter what you're playing on. You know, having the trophies pop on PlayStation or the PC, that all that makes sense. But it almost makes more sense to me if you have a handheld, like if you have a Steam Deck or something like that makes more sense to me. Like why I get my brain just doesn't understand why I would want a PC and a PlayStation. Like if
Mm,
I could play
yeah, I
PlayStations
get that.
on PC, why would I just not have a PC? I don't.
Right.
Anyway, whatever. So it makes more sense to me if there was like a handheld version of one of those that I could open up the launcher on. That would make more sense to me. But
Hmm.
yeah, clearly there's something that, I feel like the whole PC thing started as a response to Microsoft, and I think PlayStation
Mm,
is they seem very confident, to me at least, that they have found a path to make it profitable and to make it sustainable. And
for
part of that
sure.
is sharing the exclusivity of their first party games, but also, you know, adding features in like these linking, like the account linkage. If cross buy is a real thing, that could be huge for them. So I think there's some,
Yeah.
even if it's like you buy it on PlayStation, you pay $10 more to get access to it. Like I think that would work too. There'd be some kickback at first, but it sounds like something PlayStation would do to me.
Of
But
course.
no, I mean I'm not opposed to it. Again, I just if somebody could explain to me the value of having both ways of playing, like why you need a PC and a play,
Yeah.
then I would understand more.
Yeah. No, I get that. The thing that I'm pretty fascinated by is just how quickly they're moving on all this PC stuff. It seems like we're just getting it like in a flurry. I mean, of course, this isn't official yet, but like we've got the PlayStation PC website now. We've got all these rumors. We know they've hired all these people. Like they released Spider Man. They're about to release Miles Morales on PC. At some point after that, they're going to release or not Uncharted, The Last of Us Part One on PC. So we're just getting like a flurry of shit, and it's happened so fast. And it goes back to what I said last week about how I think that you can like this is just going to keep expanding. And I think that you can extrapolate this stuff out to back to what I said last week that I think eventually we're going to have PC games offered on the PlayStation Plus service. So I think that, maybe if you get the premium tier, they're going to start putting like the PC versions of games on the premium tier. And they'll be able to do that because they're going to have the PlayStation PC app. And so all you're going to have to do is log in with your PSN on your PC app. Oh, your premium. Okay, cool. Here's Spider-Man. Here's Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. You can download to your PC and
So you
play.
think it would
It's
be first
exactly
day, like day one shit?
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, it was maybe not every game that they put on PC, but eventually, like, I'm saying that they're like now how we get like PS4 game, we get some PS4 games, we get a PS5 game, on our monthly PlayStation Plus stuff. Well, even more so than that now. If you have premium, you get PS1 games, except for this month. Maybe PS2 games, PSP games. I think they're going to make PC a part of that PlayStation Plus offering at some point. And I think it's smart, and I think there's a way to do that. And I think what I just described with the PlayStation PC launcher is exactly what Xbox does on their Game Pass PC stuff, where you just log into your Xbox account and you have like the launcher, you claim your games, you download it, you play them, whatever. So I think they're going to have parity with Xbox in that way pretty soon. I mean, pretty soon. I mean, they're moving lightning fast, in my opinion, on this PC stuff. So yeah, but very interesting to see how this will all come together. And then, of course, Spider-Man doing really well on PC. That's really not a surprise. And I think it's unlock that we have multiplayer mode at the very least on Spider-Man 2. And we already know from the first trailer that Miles Morales and Spider-Man are both in that. So I think that's a pretty much foregone conclusion. Number 3, prepare to defend democracy for a second time, Travis, as the previously NVIDIA GeForce leaked Helldivers 2 was leaked yet again this week, and this time in rather convincing fashion. Approximately 10 seconds of an announcement trailer for the game appeared online before quickly being taken down by Sony through a copyright strike, essentially confirming that the video was real. Fine print at the start of the video says the footage was captured on PS5, and it shows a squadron of aircraft before showing the PlayStation Studio splash screen. Then we see a crashing spaceship and corpses while a narrator says, quote, "The aliens are at our doorstep. Democracy hangs in the balance," end quote. The announcement trailer is likely to be included in some sort of PlayStation Showcase event, which is widely assumed to be happening later this year. The original Helldivers launched in 2015 on PS3, PS4, and PlayStation Vita with crossplay support, and was also PlayStation's first ever PC port, releasing in late 2015 on Steam, where it has a 92% positive user rating. Interestingly, Swedish developer Arrowhead Studios confirmed in December of 2020 that they are working on a next-gen third-person cooperative shooter, indicating that perhaps the sequel has changed from the isometric perspective of the original. So, what do you think about Helldivers 2? When we knew that this was a possibility, if not a reality, from the Nvidia leak, but what do you think of the new info?
I mean, first of all, I'll defend democracy as much as I need to,
Hell
however many
yeah.
times it
One
takes.
hell of a model American.
I really enjoyed Helldivers. We all did. It was a
Yeah.
blast. I gotta say, I want it to be isometric. I don't need it to be third person.
Yeah. Yeah, I
If
hear
it's
you.
third person and it's good, I have nothing to complain about. Obviously, I will still enjoy it. But the isometric
Sure.
nature of the game is part of the charm. So I would be a little disappointed. I'd be a lot disappointed if it disappeared. It's kind of irritating. However, I'm glad that we got some sort of leak because, like, we've talked about before, like, where is this thing?
Yeah.
As we've done with a lot of the Nvidia leaks, like, where are they? Because, like, if they're when I read the leak, I thought, I don't know why, but, like, when we get the leak of all those games, I just thought that we would have them all by now. Like, I just really thought they're farther along. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to at least see some smoke, right? And
Oh, I want
we
the
know,
smoke.
like you said, we know the video is real because they copyright wrote it. They kind of the copyright strike, so that's a real thing. And like the narrator
Mhm.
saying the aliens at our doorstep, like it felt like I was playing the first one. So I'm in all the way. Hopefully the boys are in too, so we can have some fun with it. Like we've talked about
Yep.
before. John, we've had a lot of fun with John on this game. We'll just say that. So hopefully, hopefully it
Yeah.
comes out soon. I'm ready. Like let's go.
Yeah. Well, this is obviously real. I can't wait for it to be announced. It seems like this, we've talked about the live service games, how they are planning, they being Sony, to have 2 live service games by the end of March. This now seems to me like this will be our first one of the year, and it seems like it's going to come out this year, in my opinion. This seems like a game that you announce and you release like a couple of months later, or not like a really short gap between announcement and hey, it's out
Yeah.
type of thing. Because people are going to get excited about this because the first one was such a hit that, let's say they announce it in September and they're like, "Oh, it's going to be out in October." Remember Forspoken moved.
Hmm.
So I'm just saying maybe that's a possibility, but I definitely think this is coming this year. This is my gut. And because I think on the flip side of that, I think the one that's coming by the end of March is The Last of Us Factions. I think, again, I keep saying it, I think they want some synergy with the television show, which is coming out early next year. That just makes way too much sense to me to not be the case. But this is going to be awesome. I am with you. I don't know if the switch to third person is going to be like is the right move. The isometric look was awesome, and I think that that's something that Sony might be a little bit afraid of in a way to put out from like one of their, not a first party studio but a second party studio. Like I feel like in their mind, like just thinking about it, I feel like Sony sees something like that, even though they did this in 2015. But I think it's different now. Like they're playing by different rules, and I feel like maybe they feel like an isometric game doesn't feel as premium. So I'm not saying that they told the studio that they had to do a third person game, but it just seems like something that Sony might say is like, hey, can we make this third person? Because that's like what we do, and we're really good at it, and we're known for that type of thing. So I don't know. We'll see. But my other big kind of burning question is this game going to cost money?
That's what I was gonna say.
Is it going to be free to play with, season pass, battle pass, and whatever? If so, I think that's totally fine. I think that's a good idea. If it's, 30 or $40, I think that's fine too. So I'm really curious about that because I really do, just in my balls, I feel like this is a live service game.
Mhm.
I 100% feel like this is a live service game. I guess we won't have to wait too much longer because I don't think this would have leaked. I don't think this would exist if we weren't getting close to an announcement of it. And the thing that I read about it is that the trailer it was not a final version, but it was being edited. So again, I think it's close. I think we're going to hear about it relatively soon. Number 4, film industry website Deadline reported late on Friday afternoon that Sony's PlayStation Productions division is currently developing a Days Gone film adaptation with Sam Heughan from the hit series Outlander in line to star as protagonist Deacon St. John. Golden Globe winning and Oscar nominated writer Sheldon Turner is on board to write the movie, and he most recently wrote Amazon's upcoming Roadhouse remake starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. Okay.
Mm.
Deadline is hearing the film will be a quote love letter to motorcycle movies, the bike being Deacon's sole form of transportation, his horse in this would be modern day Western. End quote. What do you think about a Days Gone movie? They can make a movie, but not a sequel to the game.
Yeah, it's super weird. I don't know who Sam Heughan is. I don't know what that is.
He's good. I watch Outlander. It's a great show, and he's good in that
Can
show.
there only
So
be one Outlander?
it's different Outlander, but that's Highlander, I think.
Whatever.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
close.
When I okay, guys. I don't know. Like a love letter to what's a motorcycle movie? Easy Rider and like Wild Hogs. Like I don't know any. I don't know any motorcycle
Right.
movies. Is that a thing?
That's fair. Yeah.
Whatever. Just the Roadhouse thing's blowing my mind because I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of a pussy, and how's Conor McGregor fit into this? Like,
I knew that was going to ruin your whole thing. Like you can't even think about Days Gone because
I
Jake
can't.
Gyllenhaal is making a Roadhouse movie.
Like, he's not believable to me as Patrick Swayze, and Conor
Yeah,
McGregor and his accent definitely isn't. So, like, I don't know. What are we doing?
I don't get that one. That one throws me off.
I don't know. I'm completely. This Conor McGregor, Jake Gyllenhaal does not make sense to me. You cannot convince me Conor McGregor is a good actor. Oh, God,
Oh,
it's
this
just
has
so
totally
much.
fucked your brain.
Yeah, he just it's gonna be an Irish bar.
It's a pub.
So,
Well,
anyway,
so
whatever.
let me talk about Days Gone for you. Let me bring it back in. So Days Gone film adaptation. Sam Heughan, they 100% are talking to Sam Heughan because he already knows how to ride a motorcycle. Because I think he has a television show where he rides
Well, they
motorcycles
couldn't
around
get any
Scotland.
they couldn't get Sons of Anarchy, guys?
Right. They 100% got him because he already rides a motorcycle. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, I've never seen this motherfucker.
Yeah, he's a good looking man. He's a good actor too. But the other thing about this is that people are big mad. And it does, I mean, it is weird. So the guy who played Deacon St. John in the game, like did the acting, did the performance capture, all of it. His name is Sam Witwer, and he actually like is an actor. Like he's already an actor. Like he's been in shows and shit, and maybe in movies. I don't know, but like they already had an actor who played the guy, but they don't feel confident enough to put him in the fucking movie as the guy. My theory on that though is that they want to get away from the game because they're not making another one. So like if the movie's good and they can make Days Gone 2 and it doesn't have the people from the game in it, you know what I'm saying? Like there's separation there.
But this is you're gonna say the same thing about Ghost of Tsushima movie.
Probably. Also, though, in their defense, in Sony's defense, Sam Heughan 100% is a more well-known actor than Sam Witwer. I have to admit. Like, I don't know one fucking thing Sam Witwer's been in, but I guess you don't know one fucking thing Sam Heughan's been in either. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, Outlander is a big show, and Sam already, like I said, already knows how to ride a motorcycle. So I don't know, but yes, back to your fascination with Roadhouse. I did not know that was a thing. First of all, second of all, I don't understand how Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor can make a good Roadhouse movie. But maybe people were saying that about Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott too. I have no idea, but
They weren't.
they, they better fucking not have. So we'll see. We'll see about this. I don't understand why they're making a movie for this. They don't even like the fucking game enough to make another one. Okay. I digress. Number 5, one eagle-eyed Reset Era user named Tumari has done a nice bit of detective work this week to discover that Sony Interactive Entertainment, meaning PlayStation, appears to have signed a second-party publishing agreement with British developer Ballistic Moon for their first game. Just this month, the developer posted photographs of a motion capture session for the project, which Tumari was able to locate the motion capture actress for on professional social website LinkedIn, where she listed the game as codename Project Bates and listed the publisher as Sony Interactive Entertainment. Additionally, the Farnborough based studio, which was founded in 2019, claims on their own LinkedIn page that they are working with a quote, world leading publisher, end quote, on an Unreal Engine 5 project. Coincidentally, Ballistic Moon's project is directed by Joshua Archer, who has previously worked on PlayStation exclusive titles like Horizon Zero Dawn and Until Dawn. Archer also stated in an interview with British outlet MCV in 2021 that the team, quote, were able to create a pitch and pitch out a strong concept and project which subsequently was signed off by a well-known publisher relatively quickly, end quote. The game could be an interactive story game in the style of Until Dawn or Heavy Rain. As the studio's founders worked on PS3 hit Heavy Rain itself, the project is likely being overseen by Sony XDev in Liverpool, which previously helped bring Detroit Become Human to market. And even Ballistic Moon themselves have described the project as having quote unquote emotive performance capture work. Okay, what do you think about a Heavy Rain or Until Dawn style game again from Sony?
Well, 3 big things from this. One, it's
Yeah,
definitely gonna be like Heavy Rain or Until Dawn, 100%. Everything these guys
yeah,
worked on those games. They are overseen by the company that oversaw Detroit Becoming Human. Like, all of
yeah.
it's there. Emotive performance, I'm not sure what else you could ask for. So this is definitely gonna be a part of it. It will definitely be a major aspect of the game. I think that's a 100% guaranteed. Uh, the second thing is it's amazing to me that people who are motion capturing, working on this game could even put stuff like that on their LinkedIn that list the
Yeah.
publisher as Sony with a project code name. Like, I know the code name's there to protect it, but
Yeah.
like you could clearly draw the lines here. I just feel like that the NDA shouldn't allow you to do that, but fine. And then this Tamari guy really, we could have used him to like find Bin Laden. Like, he's clearly got some sort of talent that doesn't make a lot of
No,
sense.
no kidding.
Like, dude put this shit together. What do you mean he found the actress? Like, how did he would he get on there and just type in, like, brown-haired ladies? Like, he had to have known something to find her on LinkedIn. Or maybe he just looked at Sony Interactive people that were tagged in it and then have just dug through it until he picked the girl from the motion capture. I don't know. But again, yeah, 2 big things. It's definitely gonna be decision-based, emotive, whatever you wanna call it. That's gonna be a big part of this game, and again, how are we allowed to let people basically leak things like this? It seems like we should be better than that.
Well, we're not, but or they're not, but they do it anyway because some people don't read their shit, and some people are just dumb, and some people just do it because they don't give a shit. But also, I feel like people don't think that video game fans aren't crazy enough to not go look shit up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like we are okay. Like we're gonna look. I mean, you heard what I said about my shit with Corey Barlog earlier. Like, I was taking the fact that he tweeted 4 Star Wars gifts as that they were making a sci-fi game. Like, that's what we do. So people need to be a little bit smarter than that. But this sounds cool. I think if it's a Heavy Rain or Until Dawn style game, I think that's really cool, and I'm interested to see what that looks like. I like those kinds of games, but the weird thing is that there's only been like two really good ones in my opinion. Heavy Rain was amazing, and I
Yeah.
think you would agree. And then Until Dawn was also very good. Detroit was okay,
It's okay.
but yeah, it was okay. But the rest of those that have been like the Man of Medan shit or whatever, like that apparently is not all that great. So it's interesting. It's also interesting that Sony is doing this with this team instead of just like going to Supermassive, who did Until Dawn,
Mhm.
and being like, "Hey, we want you to make another game," or even, well, they had a falling out with Quantic Dream, so that explains that. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like they could get somebody who's already established to make a game like
Mhm.
this. Is what I'm trying to say. But
To throw money at a new studio is kind of a big jump.
yeah, maybe they're going to buy them because they missed out on
Ah,
Supermassive, I think.
yeah.
But maybe they're going to see how they do, and then they're going to buy them.
That's it.
You know,
That's the answer.
possible. Hmm. Number six, developer Team Asobi, the PlayStation first party studio and creator of PlayStation 5's best exclusive game, Astro's Playroom, is currently working on what sounds like several fronts for Sony. Speaking to website gamesindustry.biz, studio head Nicholas Doucet said, quote, "We have a current production and that's going fine." Doesn't sound good. Fine's not good. Fine's not good in your book, Travis. But we want to have another group for R&D, and we want enough in this group to explore as many areas that are interesting and to potentially start other projects. We always have this extra team on the side. Probably like 90% of the studio is on production, but there's this small pocket of people in the background that are already touching the technologies of tomorrow or trying things with the technologies we have today, but taking them into a new direction. End quote. In regards to their in production game, it will be a full blown commercial title and their biggest project yet, according to Duce. To support this endeavor, the team has grown exponentially from around 35 employees at the time that it was spun out of the now defunct Sony Japan studio in 2021 to now employing more than 60 staff, with Duce expecting Asobi's headcount to eventually reach 100 people. And finally, as the only remaining Japan based PlayStation studio, Duce wants Team Asobi's games to retain a certain quote unquote made in Japan quality, to which he said, quote, "We are in Japan, but we make games for a global audience. So we have to be clever about taking what's great about Japan. There's so much about the local culture and the culture of making games that's really unique and adapting that for an international audience. We want to make sure that when people play our games that there is a feeling and you can't quite put your finger on it that it's made in Japan." End quote. What do you think about Team Asobi and what they might be doing?
I just think it's interesting that they say they have this group of 10% that's always working on the future or messing around with the technology. All I heard was there's 10% of people who are kind of like fucking around in another room, just seeing what they can get away with. Like, I'm sure it's much
Yeah.
more structured than that, but like, I guarantee you that there's people on production. They're like, dude, all they do is like order pizza and then goof off with the headset. Like, I just feel like it comes off like that completely. But and by the way, 10%. So it's six people. Like, you have a staff of 60. There's like four or five guys in a room. Anyway, whatever. It just sounds worse than it is to me, but to do something as big as they say they are, it's like we've talked about this before. These studios make these or these developers make these games that are really nice, and they do them with 30 or 40 people. Like you said, they had 35 people, and they made arguably the best PS5 exclusive game. And then you
Yeah.
expand to 60, and you say we're going to do this super ambitious project, and it's like, okay, why not just do another one that you not copy Astros, but, like, you've already done something with this really good
Right.
crew that you have. It's like, if you have a really good
Mm,
what do we need to add parts? Like, you've already I don't know,
mm,
it's weird to me, like, if you win the title as an NBA team and everybody on the roster is under contract, why are you bringing in more people? Like, the chemistry's good, you won, you just had success, the morale's there, there's a lot of self-belief, a lot of trust, and then you're gonna double the staff. So now all of a sudden, half the people in those room, they're not into your culture. You hope they're up to par, that your talent level.
hmm.
I don't know. It's just weird to me that they keep. And I've talked about this before, but like when you just keep adding in people, you open the door wider and wider and wider for there to be more mistakes. And for people to take less responsibility too. Like It seems like the smaller the team, the easier it is for people to be like, "I'm in charge." When you have 45 people working on something, people are gonna be like, "Ah, he's doing it. Ah, he's doing it." Like, the responsibility becomes
Mm,
easier to kinda shed, but that's fine. That aside, what's a full-blown commercial title look like from these guys? One thing I think is safe to say is it will look cool, like, visually, I think the art
mhm.
style will be really cool, and I think that they did a really good job using the PlayStation features on the controller, like,
Yeah,
they
they
crushed
crushed it.
it, and they also use it, like, even the tip screens, that nobody really uses, they use them very well for that
Yeah,
game because I used them for that game to get the platinum, so
yeah,
I think it's safe to say that they will do things with the system and the controller better than almost any developer will because they've proven they can, and I assume on a big commercial title, it'll be the same way. One thing that makes me feel better about them and adding in all these people and keeping the right culture is he talks about it, right? Like, "We're in Japan, we need to keep this Japanese thing going on," whatever it is, like, there's a
mhm.
certain Japanese pulse within their game, and I kinda know what he means, like, when you play Astro Bot, it's like a love
Yeah,
letter in a sense, not to Japan, but to PlayStation, and if you're gonna write a love letter to PlayStation, you have to include Japan. It's obviously, right?
sure.
So, I think that might be the way that they do it. It'll be abstract in a sense, but they've done it so well, it kinda makes me feel I'm less worried about them and being able to incorporate more staff and being successful than I am for a lot of the other developers we've talked about over the last month or 2. I'm just curious to see, like, what does a commercial game look like from Asobi? I don't know.
Yeah, the thing about Team Asobi is that, to your point, you can almost sometimes you can dilute yourself and by adding people.
Right.
So I hope that they don't add so many people that they dilute what their product is and what they're capable of doing. And I would still, like I said in the write up, I was being a little cheeky, but I'm being honest too. I think that you can make the argument that Astro's Playroom is still PlayStation 5's best exclusive game. Now we'll see what God of War Ragnarok is able to do, but they are on to something. And what does a full blown commercial title look like from them? Like you said, well, I would say that they have one already. I mean, just because Astros was an action platformer or whatever, like that doesn't mean it wasn't a full blown title. So I don't know. It makes me hopeful, but at the same time that they're going to do something bigger and better, which is cool. But I also think that maybe they're selling themselves a little bit short. I think that they have a special sauce already and that they don't need to abandon that. And maybe they're not. Maybe they're just doing like an expanded Astros game. Like he's getting like a full blown kind of treatment, so to speak, like a new like the new Crash Bandicoot game at Astros Playroom or something like that. Maybe they're doing something like that, which is cool. And that's not really something we get a lot of from Sony anymore outside of like Sackboy Big Adventure in terms of like more not rated M games where people are slitting each other's throats and shit like that, which, you got to have that stuff too. So I think this is a really interesting team. I wonder if the fact that they're growing so big, though, is to accommodate them making maybe a PSVR 2 game and just like
Mm,
a standard PS5 game potentially. I think it's a no brainer that they make a PSVR 2 game after they made the Astros one
mhm.
for the first PSVR that was really well received. So maybe they're just hiring all these people to have two things going at one time. I think that's a possibility. So whatever they do, I'm going to have my eyes on it because Astros Playroom, I think, is special. Number 7, industry analysts, the NPD Group, shared their July data this week. The trend of decreased consumer spending halted a bit last month as July consumer spending was $4.18 billion, only slightly down from the $4.19 billion seen in July of 2020. So, right smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. PlayStation 5 led the market in July in hardware dollar sales, as well as year to date in 2022, while PS5 experienced a double digit percentage growth in sales compared to July of last year. Incredibly, free to play character brawler Multiversus was July's best selling game, which means that a shit ton of people bought the game's founders packs. The top 10 best selling games on PlayStation were in order. Number 1, Elden Ring, followed by MLB The Show 22 at 2, which was number 6 on the overall list. Multiversus was third on PlayStation. Call of Duty Vanguard at 4, Minecraft at 5, Horizon Forbidden West at 6, F1 22 at 7, Gran Turismo 7 at 8, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga at 9, and Spider-Man Miles Morales at 10 on PlayStation. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to a blue in the face about the consumer spending, so I'll let that live over there by itself.
Mhm.
Again, same thing with market share in hardware sales. Again, same thing we always expect. Whatever. The amount of people that bought the Brawler Founder Pack for Multiverse, love it. That's great. That game is going to do awesome. I'm so excited. Like, I'm just so excited that other people like it because it's going to keep. It's finally a live service game that I like that that's going to keep getting fed. So that makes me happy.
Yeah, I know.
What's interesting about, and maybe not this isn't interesting, but what I like about this top 10 list is there's two racing games there. That's awesome. Take those out. Multiverses being third is lovely, and Elden Ring being one is great. That's great for those types of games. Outside of those, it's just like it's games that are like franchises or heavy hitters, right? COD, Minecraft is what it is. Horizon, anything with Star Wars and Spider-Man, right? It's just like
Mhm.
just fucking heavy hitters. So like I mean it's kind of
Mhm.
what you'd expect, but like I said, I love that multiverses and Elden Ring are there.
The multiverses thing is like the biggest takeaway for me from this. It's incredible that a free to play game was the best selling game of the month. Regardless of platform. So, like you said, that makes me excited that finally like one has resonated with me. That is a big deal and is going to be around for the long haul. And Elden Ring still on PlayStation though being number one, that's not really a surprise. That game may sell 20 million copies when before the year's done. I don't know. We'll see. See what else stands out here. Spider-Man Miles Morales still hanging around there. That's not really a big surprise on PlayStation. I am surprised that it didn't make the overall list, so it's cooling off a little bit there. But the other thing is that PS5s apparently are getting a little bit easier to find, which I think is explained by the PS5 having double-digit percentage growth in sales compared to last year, and I think it's just getting easier to find, and we're starting to see that new hardware revision that I think is helping alleviate some of the supply issues. So, number 8, we have a lot of news nuggets as well. Travis, feel free to jump in here. First nugget, the long in development open world zombie action game Dead Island 2 leaked via an Amazon listing this week. The game is scheduled to release on February 3rd and will take place across a post apocalyptic Los Angeles. The listing has since been pulled, but the game description revealed that players will choose one of 6 fully customizable characters and will, of course, include cooperative play. Dead Island 2 was first announced back in 2014 and has swapped developers multiple times, with Homefront the Revolution developer Dan Buster leading the charge to the finish line. Insider Tom Henderson reported that the game will be re-revealed at Gamescom opening night live on August 23rd. Hell yeah, let's go.
I'm always a little worried about the fact that it changed developers so many times, but it
Yeah,
seems to be okay.
yeah, we'll see what it looks like on Tuesday
Mhm.
on the at opening night live, but I'm cautiously optimistic without having really seen anything at all, but I'm excited about it that it exists.
I'm curious about the 6 customizable characters because if the characters are fully
Hmm,
customizable, wouldn't you just need one?
that's a good point. Hmm, we'll see. Next nugget. Xbox announced that Sony owned game Death Stranding is headed to their Game Pass service on PC on August 23rd. This won't be the first PlayStation game to come to Xbox Game Pass, as MLB The Show 22 did back in April, but it would be odd nonetheless. Sony was contractually obligated by Major League Baseball to bring the show to Xbox, while Death Stranding's PC version was published not by Sony, but by 505 Games, so perhaps that is the workaround in this instance. And of course, Microsoft and Death Stranding creator Hideo Kojima announced a partnership earlier this year as well, so maybe that plays into this somehow, with Kojima perhaps having more control over the IP than we thought. So this isn't a huge deal, I don't think, when you step back and look at it. The only thing really that I am puzzled by is how, when PlayStation was signing these deals for like MLB The Show, with Kojima and first of all, how they allow 505 Games to publish Death Stranding instead of them publishing it on PC for Kojima. Uh, but when they made these deals, okay, fine. MLB Major League Baseball made them put it on Xbox. okay, fine, it can be on Xbox, but we're not going to allow them to put it on Game Pass. How is that not somewhere in the contract? Like, fine, you can sell the show on Xbox, but I'll be goddamned if you put it on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah,
Like, I don't. That's embarrassing to me. I don't know how they messed up on that
it
one.
makes you feel like that they were just appeasing. They weren't necessarily fighting in a way. Unless Major League Baseball just came down and said, literally, you put it on Game Pass or fuck you. And then they were
Yeah,
like,
could be.
"Oh, okay." But that doesn't answer 505 games because I feel like Sony, like, it's
Yeah,
different to say that to Major League Baseball. For 505 games to say that, I'd be like, "Okay, and you're
yeah,
505 games."
right. You publish like Sniper Elite and fucking that got lucky and published Death
Yeah,
Stranding. Like,
thank you, whatever.
I don't know, man. I mean, it doesn't matter. People are pissed off about it, and PlayStation fans have been like tweeting at Kojima, calling him a traitor and all this stuff. Like, that's silly. Like, that's fucking dumb. Don't do that. But the only thing from a business standpoint, I just don't know how Sony couldn't let this happen. I don't know how the hell they let that happen. That just seems like bad business. But like you said, we might not know the whole story. Next nugget, developer Ember Lab, the creators of Kena Bridge of Spirits, announced that the game will be getting an anniversary update on September the 27th alongside its launch on PC. It features a new game plus mode, charm stones, which alter Kena's abilities, new outfits, new accessibility features, a new replayable mode called Spirit Guide Trials, and more. PlayStation released a new video for God of War Ragnarok this week called Myths of Midgard, which is an animated storybook aimed at getting players caught up on the story of 2018's God of War. Activision announced that players who pre order any digital edition of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 will get 8 days early access to the single player campaign. In other Modern Warfare 2 news, the release date for Warzone 2.0 leaked this week. It will be launching on November the 16th. Are you going to pre order? You excited?
Playing the single player is not gonna make me pre-order your game. That's stupid, whatever.
Yeah, I figured that wouldn't get you. I've already pre ordered, so I'll be playing it 8 days early.
Yeah, you'll be how long is the campaign? 6 hours?
Yeah, I'll play it in like an afternoon, and then I'll be sitting around for 7.5 days. Next nugget, the Dragon Ball Z and Fortnite crossover event started this week, and it includes a limited time Dragon Ball Quest, a Dragon Ball Adventure Island, new emotes, the Nimbus Cloud, and more. Whoa.
Yeah, so, a guy I work with is, he bought the pack to play with the Dragon Ball Z stuff. So
Perfect. I
apparently
love
you
it.
can use Goku's special with any character, right? So you can use it with Darth
Yeah.
Vader or whatever, which is kind of cool that you have like this weird mashup of like
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool actually. But the but like we talked about before, Fortnite is not the game that we remember as old men.
No.
He said that you could like go to a certain area or in a certain mode and you could just watch episodes of Dragon Ball Z in the game with other people.
I I heard
You could
about
like sit
this.
on a
Yeah.
boat or an island or something. And I was like, "And
Yeah.
nobody kills you?" He's like, "No, it's not like that." I'm like, "So I get on Fortnite and go onto an island to watch a TV show." He's like, "Yes." I was like, "I don't fucking understand." And he said that, like, he said he got into the game and all you could hear was people doing the Goku noise.
Oh my
Like,
god.
can you imagine it's just 100 people, like, it's
Right.
exactly what you would expect,
Right.
but it's just such a disaster from the what I remember, and then he explained a bunch of Dragon Ball Z lore, which,
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were on a different arc. There's so many arcs. There's the
Oh
arcs
yeah.
that I remember. I haven't caught up with the arcs the last 15 years, so
Sure.
he caught me up on some of them, and they are kind of outrageous. Apparently, there's multiple universes, so
Oh
the whole
wow.
thing
Of
there, if you're
course.
interested.
Listen, I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. Okay, not a overarching Dragon Ball fan, but Dragon Ball Z, big fan. I've mentioned that before. Very fond memories. Fortnite, I don't know what Fortnite is anymore, as you've said. No idea. I did play it a few weeks ago, and I actually enjoyed myself from a gameplay standpoint. I get it. There is a sweet spot there for the gameplay. I understand that, but there's no doubt that it is an absolute hodgepodge of diarrhea from the video game industry and beyond now at this point because we get all these crossovers. It almost doesn't have an identity, but does have one at the same time. Like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like, I just don't.
I feel like it's the metaverse.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. I guess that's what they're going for because it's just this conglomeration of all kinds of stuff and it's just nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense. But it's the one of the biggest games in the world. So obviously I'm in the minority.
Yeah, but I
But
just feel like 'cause some of them like, "Yeah, I played Fortnite last night," and I just was like, "Dude, if I was your age, when I was your age, if I would have said to my friends, 'I'm playing a game like Fortnite,' they would have been like, 'What the fuck are you doing?'"
yeah, they would have made fun of you. Yeah.
But all of them are like, "Oh, yeah, we're playing Fortnite." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. When I was your age, like, that was not a thing people did."
Correct. Yeah, we were playing fucking Call of Duty,
Right.
Gears of War, whatever.
They're like, we're gonna go home and play Kena Bridge of Spirits," and I'm like, have you like, what do you" it's just so different a different world for me.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
gaming is mainstream
s
now, I will say.
yeah, sure. It's much more open too, like, maybe if we
Yeah.
would've grown up around that, it would be like I feel like the games we were exposed to were very, like, I don't know, like, almost like 1950 min rolls.
Right. yeah. Next nugget. Website Video Games Chronicle reported that Disney will host a Disney and Marvel game showcase on September the 9th. The event will feature the first look at Amy Hennig's Marvel project, which is rumored to be a Fantastic Four game, as well as fresh looks at Disney Dreamlight Valley, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Lego Star Wars, and more. Publisher Take Two Interactive and Peter Jackson's company, Weta Workshop. I don't even know that's how you say that. I don't feel
It
like it
is.
is. Oh, Weta? Okay. Working together on a new Middle Earth game. It's kind of cool. It is expected to release during Take Two's 2024 fiscal year. That's interesting.
Weta you've seen Weta's work in, like, Lord of the Rings and
Okay, yeah.
all kinds of stuff. They make, like, the best physical props maybe in
Oh,
Hollywood, like, they're fucking
oh,
good at it. There's lots of videos online. They're from New Zealand.
yeah.
Also, Peter Jackson has, like, a stable of World War One aircraft. Like, the dude is, like, legitimately
Nice.
cool. Like, Weta Workshop is, like I would consider leaving the country to work for them. Like,
Oh,
I don't know what I would do, but, like, they're so fucking good at what they do. It makes you wanna be a part of it, and, like, dude,
sure.
I'm telling you to look it up, dude. I mean, anything that they do, I'm in on. It's kinda like, when Scorsese makes a movie, like, you're in on it.
Hmm.
I'm like that with them.
Interesting. Okay, I did not know this about them. Also, Just Cause developer Avalanche Studios was working on an Iron Man game for about 2 years before it was canceled. Company co founder Christopher Sundberg revealed in an interview with MinMax. An unannounced Avatar The Last Airbender game has been leaked on Amazon, who has a listing live for the game subtitled Quest for Balance. It is listed for release on November the 8th on PS4 and PS5. Game engine company Unity's board of directors voted unanimously to reject a proposal from mobile software company AppLovin, McLovin, to merge the two companies for $17.5 billion. Unity instead announced plans to proceed with their previously announced merger with fellow mobile technology company IronSource.
Wow.
Yeah. Multiversus data miners have discovered voice lines for Beetlejuice and the Wicked Witch of the West,
Oh, hell
confirming that
yeah.
they will be joining the character roster at some point in the future. Developer Player First Games also confirmed that previously leaked characters Black Adam and Stripe from the Gremlins will be joining the game during Season 1 as well. Very excited for Beetlejuice.
I am too. Every time I see the word gremlin, I think of Kodak Black.
Also, Crash Bandicoot, Skylanders, and Spyro Reignited trilogy developer Toys for Bob has begun teasing their next game. The California based studio most recently developed 2020's Crash Bandicoot 4. Dying Light 2's first story DLC is called Bloody Ties, developer Techland announced. The first gameplay footage will be revealed at Gamescom Opening Night Live on August 23rd. And speaking of Opening Night Live, Jeff Keighley revealed that Hogwarts Legacy will also be at the showcase to share a new gameplay trailer, as will survival horror game The Callisto Protocol and Telltale Games The Expanse. Activision appears to have plagiarized Call of Duty Warzone skins in back to back weeks, this time from personality Dr. Disrespect's upcoming FPS game called Dead Drop. Stay hot. Nearly an hour of gameplay footage from the closed alpha test of Sega's multiplayer PvPvE team heist shooter Hyenas has leaked online this week, and it looks pretty cool.
We're always here for heist. I love heists. So, whatever.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it looks cool. Spider Man PC's first patch dropped this week, and it fixed ray tracing crashes and a variety of stability issues. Naughty Dog released another comparison video for The Last of Us Part 1 this week, if you're interested, featuring a section from the game when they're in Boston. Also, a Taiwanese retailer has outed the release date for Sonic Frontiers as November 15th, excuse me, and their promotional material also claims that the game will have post-launch DLC. Website GamesIndustry.biz reported that Embracer Group subsidiary Asmodee Digital has rebranded to Twin Cells Interactive as they shift focus from making board game adaptations to original indie and AA caliber games. Paradox Interactive announced a new indie publishing label called Paradox Arc, which will focus on replayable games from small development teams. It's intriguing. Here you go. Singapore-based developer Virtuous, who is mostly known for their port and support work on games like Uncharted 4, the Batman Arkham games, and Horizon Zero Dawn, has opened a new branch in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And they have one hell of a Singapore stick, I heard. Also, website PushSquare reported that Sony has made a slight yet necessary tweak to the PlayStation Store following backlash over the absolute amount of junk that releases each week.
Mhm.
The new games section is now sorted by default by the best-selling games rather than release date. Thank God.
They should also have like a best rated too. Like,
Dude, if they ever give us the ability to rate games, I think that would help a shit ton.
yeah, I mean, for real. I mean, God, even if it's just the fucking Netflix
Yeah.
system of 2 thumbs or 1 thumb, that's fine. Just something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Also, 2K Sports revealed that NBA 2K23 will give players the ability to start a franchise mode from 4 different eras of the NBA: the Magic vs. Bird era, the Jordan era, the Kobe era, and the modern era. Fuck you, LeBron. Most
Right.
impressive is that each era will include the real life draft classes from the years, era appropriate commentary teams and graphical styles, and more. This is
Yeah.
super cool.
So I wasn't really that. I mean, the team part was cool, but what really got me was the graphics and the commentary team. I still wonder, like if I do Magic versus Bird era, or the Jordan era, like, are the Kings gonna have the Jordan era athletes, or is it gonna just be like the Kings with De'Aaron Fox, but then I get to play with Michael Jordan? Like, that's my
Yeah.
question. And
Yeah.
also, how do they do the era appropriate commentary? Like, the guys from the Magic Bird era are dead, so, like, did they just
Right.
remix commentary? Or they do like with the Egyptians where they dug up their voice box and then forced air through the mummy?
That was makes me think of the fucking video where it's like, listen to this video, listen to this, the voice of this mummy that we recreated the voice box for, and it's like, ah,
Yeah, it's so stupid.
oh, that kills me every time.
That's
Ooh,
all it is.
yeah,
No.
okay,
But no, that
ooh,
does look dope. I'm excited for
yeah,
that. So
I
that
agree.
makes me wanna buy the game.
Yeah. Also, in more 2K sports news, they revealed the cover art for PGA Tour 2K23, which features golf legend Tiger Woods. A larger reveal of the game is apparently scheduled for August 23rd, so Monday,
Right, and
right? Yeah.
sure. What made me mad about this was people were like, "Oh, I'm definitely buying the game now." I'm like, "It's a fucking cover athlete." I've never bought a game
Yeah.
because of a cover athlete. I've almost
No.
not bought a game because of a cover athlete. But,
Oh, yeah.
at least the NBA, like, the 2K stuff, like, "Alright, cool, these features are dope." Like, that's kinda fun. But, like, yeah, I'm not interested
Yeah.
in that.
Sure. Agreed. Also, developer Flying Wild Hogs third person shooter Evil West has been delayed from September 20th to November 22nd on PS4 and PS5. Microsoft admitted in recent court documents in defense of its Activision purchase that the PS4 sold more than twice as many units as the Xbox One.
Hmm.
Finally, they speak the truth. While Sony has previously promised a 1 hour game trial for Roller Drome for PlayStation Plus premium members, members were only able to enjoy 35 minutes when it launched this week, and I can confirm. Also, Gotham Knights has officially gone gold ahead of its October 25th launch on PlayStation 5. Developer Drop Bear Bytes, yes, confirmed that PS4 and PS5 ports of their Disco Elysium style CRPG Broken Roads will be releasing sometime in 2023. Looks very cool, really cool art style. Journey developer That Game Company confirmed that they are bringing their latest game called Sky Children of the Light to both PS4 and PS5 at some point in the future, as work is now underway on the ports. Genshin Impact's massive 3.0 Sumeru update will release on August 24th and will add a new region, new story quests, new characters, and new gear.
Think they'll have a Winteroo update and a
I
Hallelujah.
hope so. I hope so. Final Fantasy XIV's next major update, called Buried Memory, launches on August 23rd and features new dungeons, a new raid, and changes to PvP. Marvel's Iron Man VR developer Camouflage seems like they could be developing a game for PSVR 2 after declaring that the studio is quote unquote all in on virtual reality. Call of Duty Vanguard and Warzone's fifth and final season, called Last Stand, will launch on August 24th. Everything's launching this week. Publisher Bandai Namco announced that Elden Ring has sold 16.6 million copies in just 4 months on the market. Publisher Prime Matter announced that cult horror game The Chant will launch on November 3rd on PS5. The Elder Scrolls Online's next DLC, called Lost at Depths, will release on September the 6th for PS4 and PS5. A Plague Tale Requiem, the sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence, has gone gold ahead of its October 18th release. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that Forspoken and Star Wars Rogue One writer Gary Whitta claimed this week that Sony paid to block hit game Cult of the Lamb from being on Xbox Game Pass. Publisher Devolver Digital has since denied the claim, and also announced that Cult of the Lamb has already sold 1 million copies in its first week. Sounds like Gary needs to stay in his lane. Also, Zero Time Dilemma. God, I can't talk. The third game in the Zero Escape series has been stealthily delisted from the oh my God, guys, PlayStation Store this week, with no announcement from Axis Games or Spike Chunsoft as to why. The Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time Remakes trophy list has appeared online, suggesting that the game is not totally dead on arrival after changing studios within Ubisoft. Final Fantasy 14 and 16 producer Naoki Yoshida has said that he wants to make one more MMORPG from the ground up before he dies. I thought that was...
How old is he?
Yeah, I know. That's when I read that, I laughed out loud. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is so morbid. Like, dude acts like he's like 70. Like, I don't know. Also, the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium games lineup for the month of August got a surprise game added to the service this week. None other than Wheel of Fortune, Travis. That's a big one.
What up, Vanna White?
Rockstar Insider Tez 2 has claimed that Rockstar has plans for single-player DLC for Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't fucking believe it when I see it, buddy. A heads up that God of War Ragnarok has begun leaking online, courtesy of a typical Capcom-only leaker, Dusk Golem, who says that he received a large amount of God of War Ragnarok information, but that he does not plan to release all of it. Okay. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Rumbleverse, The Ascent, Multiversus, Paladins, Roller Champions, Tribes of Midgard, Tekken 7, Overcooked All You Can Eat, Battlefield 2042, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, Neverwinter, and Black Desert Online. Also, journalist Jeff Grubb has claimed the live service evolution of Assassin's Creed, called Infinity, could launch with 2 main settings, and that one could be revealed at Ubisoft's event on September the 10th.
I saw a post about one of the settings.
Japan, maybe?
Yeah, it was Japan, because they said, oh, they saw Ghost of Tsushima and decided they needed to go there.
Yeah, that's so silly. They're going to get... If it's not as good as Ghost of Tsushima, they're going to get destroyed.
Doing it in Central America would have been really good because nobody really touches that area.
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of like when they did the Revolution. Nobody does that. Really, a lot of their games, nobody goes to Alexandria either. Like they have done a good job kind of picking spots people don't really touch for whatever reason.
Yeah, you are right. Also, insider Tom Henderson reported that new details on the Deadspace remake will be shared at the end of September, according to his sources. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion has been rated in Australia, meaning that a release is not far off. Blizzard has claimed that Diablo 4 will not have pay-to-win microtransactions like the recently released mobile game Diablo Immortal. I'll believe that when I see it, too. Cyberpunk delivery game Cloudpunk received its free PlayStation 5 upgrade this week, featuring 4K at 60 frames per second, DualSense support, faster loading times, better graphical features, and a cockpit first-person mode. Marvel's Avengers' next playable character is the previously rumored Bucky Barnes. He will be added to the game with Update 2.7. Website Gematsu reported that hack-and-slash roguelike game Lethal Honor, Order of the Apocalypse, was announced for PS4, but no release date was given. Summer vacation game Shin-Chan, Me and the Professor on Summer Vacation, The Endless 7-Day Journey, will launch on PS4 and just on PS4, on August 25th.
It's an endless 7-day title.
No shit. Also, 2-player cooperative multiplayer roguelite action game Ship of Fools will launch on PS5 on November 22nd. Game looks kind of neat.
Every time there's the word ship or like sailor or pirate in the title,
Oh,
I'm mildly interested.
oh hell yeah. Sci-fi adventure game Deliver Us Mars has been delayed from a September release to now releasing sometime in February. First-person medieval multiplayer combat game Mordhau will be coming to PS4 and PS5 at some point in the future. Can't imagine it's better than Chivalry. Rally racing game Dakar Desert Rally will launch on PS4 and PS5 on October the 4th from publisher Saber Interactive.
That'll be mid.
Yeah, has to be. Never heard of it. Lego building puzzle game Lego Brick Tales will launch on PS4 and PS5 in the fourth quarter of this year. Intrigued. Side-scrolling action adventure game The Company Man will release on PS4 and PS5 on August 26th. This game looks kind of neat. Your weapon is your computer keyboard, and your throwing weapon is emails.
Okay.
That's pretty funny. Also, Commandos 3 HD Remaster will launch on PS4 on August 30th. Cooperative multiplayer beat 'em up game Jitsu Squad was announced for PS4 and PS5, and it will be releasing sometime later this year. Side-scrolling adventure game Little Orifice will launch on PS4 and PS5 on September the 13th. Action adventure game Reliquary was announced and it will launch on PS4 this winter, followed by PS5 at some point next year. Square Enix Collective announced that they will publish narrative-focused horror RPG Little Goody Two Shoes, but no release date or platforms were announced. Puzzle adventure game One Shot World Machine Edition will come to PS4 on September 22nd. Bullet Hell first-person shooter Luna Abyss was announced for PlayStation, but no specific platforms or release date were given. Publisher 2K and developer Gearbox Software will launch story-driven adventure game New Tales from the Borderlands on October 21st for PS4 and PS5. 4 vs. 1 asymmetrical multiplayer game Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed will launch on PS4 and PS5 on October 18th from developer Ilphonic, the people who made Arcadegeddon. Gimmick Special Edition, a new version of the 1992 original Sunsoft platformer, will release on PS4 sometime later this year. Sunsoft will also release their 1991 adventure game Euphoria, the Saga, on consoles next year. And they tease that they have multiple new titles in development as well, including a remake of some sort. 2D fighting game Them's Fightin' Herds will launch on PS4 and PS5 on October the 18th. Super intrigued by this. It has like a 90-something% on Steam. Publisher Good Shepherd Entertainment will release open world adventure game The Eternal Cylinder on PS5 on October the 13th. PS4 owners will be able to upgrade for free. Side-scrolling action platformer Vengeful Guardian Moonrider was announced for PS4 and PS5. It will launch sometime this fall. Turn-based RPG Jack Move will launch September 20th on PS4. And finally, Travis Gamatsu reported that NN Games will release 3 Ninja Jajamaru collections on PS4 in the West. Ninja Jajamaru, The Great Yokai Battle Deluxe Edition, Ninja Jajamaru, The Lost RPGs, and Jajamaru Legendary Ninja Collection will all release sometime in 2023, with Strictly Limited Games publishing a physical edition of Jajamaru Legendary Ninja Collection. How about that? And that is all for the news this week. I'm going to turn it over to Travis now as we move on to our new game releases this week.
On the 15th of August, we have Nebula's Lasso and Robbie's Adventure.
Nebula's Asso.
There you go. The 16th, we have Rollerdrome and Way of the Hunter. Look at that. You bought every game that came out, or you played every game that came out that day. On the 17th,
That is tough.
Kruger 1. Sorry, Kruger 2. How did I fuck that up? We have Little
Your
League
brain auto-corrected.
World Series Baseball 2022. The Hippo G. On the 18th, we have Caminon.
Mm.
Cursed Golf. Pretty Girls. Four Kings Solitaire. RPG
Okay.
Time, The Legend of Right. Slaycation Paradise. I assume that's a slasher game. Thymesia. We Are O Fucking K. Then on the 19th, we have Arena Tanks, As Divine Cross, Cloudpunk, Dynabomb. And finally, I'm in love with your dead grandmother. Oh, there's 3 more. Sorry, I got distracted.
There's more. You just couldn't get past that one.
Madden 23, Ninja Fun, and The Jumping Kebab.
Wow. Okay. So let's see here. biggest game this week is probably I'm in love with your dead grandmother.
Oh,
I'm teasing. Roller Drome, big hit, big hit out there in the universe with everyone except me. It feels like I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, hopefully. And then yeah, Way of the Hunter. Talk about that as well. But let's go on. Let's move on to wrap up the show, I should say, by discussing what we've been playing and anything that we're looking forward to in the week ahead. What do you got?
we played multiverses. It was all over the map. We need to
Yeah,
try the rank that should help rein us in a little bit there.
yeah,
I enjoy the Superman. Like we talked about before, though, I hate playing teams that use the same character. So there was a match where there was like 3 Supermans on the board, and like yeah, it was just overwhelming. I
yeah.
plan on buying Batman when I get enough coins. That's my next purchase. But other than that, yeah, I kind of. It seems like the first match we play is always kind of like a barometer to see how good they are, and then I kind of can adjust. So it's like
Yeah,
I can figure out which character I want to play with. So that helps a little bit there. I'm still having some weird registration things every now and then. I did get a couple awesome kills where, like, I think I killed somebody when their damage was under 20. Like, I got him on the ledge, and he kind of was trying to save himself, and he was kind of had jumped up on the ledge to climb back up, and I just walked over and like fucking I don't know what I did with Finn, but I just basically like stabbed him in the head, and he fell off and died, and then I Bugs
yeah,
Bunny tomahawked a guy with a mallet. That was pretty cool too. So enjoyed that. Played some Battlefield. I got a couple of clips, so I'll eventually put those together. I've been slowly accumulating them, but I got a pretty big multi kill, and then I had some fun with the C5 and got a couple of kills that way. I've been enjoying the Scar a lot. I've been using that a lot.
yeah.
I have a scope with a little triangle on it that I really like. There's some other scopes on there that I feel like are better, but like there's one scope that has like a circle reticle, but then it tells you like the distance and stuff in the bottom corners, and like I can't use it for some reason. It doesn't work for me.
Interesting.
But my new favorite thing to do is use my little helmet scanner with my character, which tells me where everybody
Mhm.
is and highlights them, and then run up to the corner and just throw C5 and run away and blow it up. So I've been I've been doing that a lot. It's a lot of fun. Um,
That's funny.
but having fun with that. I'm sure we probably should try to do an F1 race, soon, but
Mm.
keep getting distracted by all the fun stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we played some more Battlefield 2042. I've got to pick up the pace on that, or I'm not going to hit level 100 on the battle pass. But so I gotta play some more this week because I think I'm in the 80s. But somebody said today on Twitter that you should be at 89 right now to be able to kind of like comfortably get to level 100 in the last couple weeks of the battle pass. So I got a little bit of work cut out for me. Then yeah, we played some more multiverses. I'm curious to see how the ranked mode changes things for us. Hopefully helps. Just such a discrepancy of like we push somebody's shit in or we get our shit pushed in type of thing. So then I played some more South Park: The Fractured But Whole, and the game is good, and I like almost everything about it, but I got bored with it. Like the game's not bad. I just got bored. And I think the problem is that I played the original and this one so close together that like it's too similar. Like they've changed stuff, but they didn't change things enough to make it feel like a fresh, like totally new
Like
experience.
Assassin's
And
Creed.
yeah, exactly. And that wasn't a problem when the game originally came out because there was like 3 or 4 years between them. So I think that's the problem. So I just kind of put that down for now. Played Way of the Hunter, as you alluded to. It is a cool game, but it needs a performance patch in the worst way. So they've got to fix some stuff. They got some glitches, and the studio's only like 9 people. So I don't really know what I expected, but yeah, they got to fix some stuff first. And there's like a game breaking bug and stuff. So yeah, all that type of shit. Played Roller Drome, the 35-minute trial. Thanks for that, PlayStation. And I don't think the game is a bad game, but I don't think it's as good as everybody is saying either. But the other part, the biggest thing for me, honestly, even beyond that, is that it made me motion sick. I don't know how, but I got like sick feeling playing the game, and I thought I was just being stupid. But then I was like breaking out into a fucking sweat, and like my head hurt. I just didn't feel
What's
good, so I
wrong
was
with
like,
you?
the game made me fucking sick. All the fucking flipping around, the camera movement, and all that shit. I just couldn't fucking do it. So yeah, so I'm done with that. And then the last thing that I played this week was wonderful, and it is called Cult of the Lamb. I finally got to play that. and that game is a treat. And I think that is a serious contender for game of the year. Honestly, it's fantastic. It is a mishmash of a bunch of different genres, and they pulled it off. It works well, and the music is great. The art style is cool. The combat is good. The like city building, whatever you want to call it, is good. Just it's great. It's awesome. So at this point, it's definitely on my like top 5 games of the year list for when we do that show at the end of the year. So I can recommend it very heavily, very heavily. So it already sold 1 million copies. So obviously, it's not just
I
me.
forgot a game I played.
Oh, what is it?
I downloaded the 4-hour trial of the show.
Oh yeah, you talked about
I
that.
did last week.
Well, last week you
Well, I
did, yeah.
played a little bit more because I wanted to give it a good shake. And
Yeah.
things I enjoyed were the old stadiums, but I enjoy old stadiums in real life, so that's a big stretch. I'm terrible at the game, so I thought I'll put it on casual, and then I'll play with one of these
Filthy
teams.
casual.
Yeah, I was like, I'll play with one of these teams that's 99 overalls, and then I'll play against a double A team. And I mean, I won like 10-0, which is what you'd expect, but like, I didn't find it like rewarding in any way. Like, even when I hit a home run, it wasn't like I don't know, it just wasn't grand. Like, I feel like the
Yeah.
controller should give me something. Even the announcers were
Mhm.
like, "Oh, they hit a home run." Like, you know what I mean? It was just kinda boring, for me.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, like
Just like real baseball?
yes, like, you could completely simplify it down to where it's basically you hit a button to pitch or throw,
Mm.
or you can make it as complicated as you want, and I like I said before, the pitching I found inconsistent regardless of what I used, like, even when I just used the point and throw, it still didn't always go where I wanted it to. Regardless of the confidence level or my energy level. Sometimes I would just float one. Like the very first pitch I threw with Nolan Ryan, a double A leadoff hitter yacked it for like 400 feet for a home run
Jesus.
it like located to the middle of the plate for the first pitch of the game, and I hit it on the corner. All I did was tap it. It wasn't I didn't fuck it up. And I still like the same issue I've had with every baseball game I've ever played. I cannot tell if it's a strike half the time.
Right.
And I can't register the speed either of the ball half the time. It is what it is. I can see why people like it, but I would rather play Madden or FIFA or something like that. Just
Right.
even if it's like I would be more interested in playing a baseball managerial team builder game than I would be to play the show.
Mm. Yeah, no, I get that. Same for me. It's not for me. All right, well, that's it for us, what we've played, and that's it for the show this week. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so that you'll get a new episode delivered to you every Monday on your podcast service or the YouTube. Also, if you can leave us a rating or review, some stars, thumbs up, comments, likes, whatever, that would be a big help. Or a written review would be a big help as well. And of course, if you could share us with a friend or a loved one who you think may enjoy the show, word of mouth is the most powerful form of advertising, they say. And don't forget to find us on social media and talk PlayStation with us. Look us up on Twitter at the DualSense Pod. We would love to talk with you. We'll get out of here now. You guys have a great week. Take care, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye bye.